I can't wait to
think
see
on
those
that
tears.
one. Yeah.
We start with Thanasis is up there for me. The Arrowhead Invitational Aftermath. Chiefs GM and committee fan Brett Veach,
Friend of the show,
weighed in on Mahomes' resume. Take a listen.
He's incredible, and then, people don't realize how hurt he was. We all saw the injury. High ankles are terrible injuries, and sometimes guys miss 2-3 weeks, and he was out there and running for a first down or a big play in the game that got us in field goal range, and obviously with the late hit there that put us in range. But it just adds to his already great legacy.
It's a good take. Here's the legacy. Quickly, MVP, AFC Championship, Super Bowl. Made Super Bowl. Who did this?
what?
Made Super Bowl, Josh. Made
who.
Super. What, they cancel it that year? Made Super Bowl.
Couldn't have put lost.
Come on, made Super. This is a horrible graphic. We should restart the show. Come on. Facing the Eagles.
I think Nick made it.
I didn't make it.
He put Josh up to it. How about that?
Go ahead. Is there a question you want to
I'm
ask?
not
He's going to
participating
roast He's on a roast our staff.
How much did Mahomes' performance affect his legacy? Made the Super Bowl.
So, the original question we were going to ask was, is Patrick Mahomes already, 5 years in, a Hall of Famer? And we couldn't do it because we all said, obviously, yes.
Right.
And
Really?
it's obviously yes.
I said
If he never
begrudgingly yes.
played another down of football, God forbid, he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And so then it got us to thinking, so what is he right now? And I believe he is in the argument against any quarterback in NFL history other than Tom Brady.
It's a good take.
And so So first, let me give you the evidence, then let me give you my opinion.
Okay.
The evidence is this. We've shown it to you earlier this week. I'll show it to you again. Mahomes' career playoff numbers. He's first in all of the individual stats, right? So not rings, obviously, not total everything,
right,
but individual per game stats. He's first in everything. What about in the regular season? What do those numbers look like? Oh, yeah, he's first in everything again, including one team stat, which is the winning percentage. I know you guys are quarterback wins.
I like them.
Which made me get to thinking, if we were to rank the all-time quarterbacks right now, no projection, just today, where does Mahomes land? So can I interest you guys in a quarterback pyramid?
No, I love it.
Wow.
We're going to go 21 people deep.
In the A block.
As we want to do. So this bottom tier of guys, again, these are the top 21. These are no doubt Hall of Famers, but not what I would consider really legends. These are no doubt Hall of Fame guys, but not quite the legendary players. Warren Moon maybe could argue he's legendary for kind of more complicated reasons, but they're no doubt Hall of Famers. Then we have guys that, listen, Peter King tells me they were amazing, and plus Terry Bradshaw. So we'll show it. I know Bradshaw was great. We can show you the next rung of guys. Everyone else, it's Otto Graham, it's Sammy Baugh, it's Bart Starr, Johnny Unitas.
Baugh.
You got to include him.
Every Sunday I was watching Baugh.
And so
he could spin it.
And now we get to the top 10. These guys are legends here. Rodgers, they all have, Super Bowl MVP, league MVP, championship. I think Steve Young's one of the most underrated players in league history.
Okay.
So now we're to the top 6, and you notice I haven't yet unveiled Mahomes, but I will right now. Right alongside Elway and Dan Marino. And while I think he has an argument ahead of Montana and Manning, I don't want to make it right now. I think Montana and Manning, at least for another 10 days, get to be ahead of him. So reveal the next two, which are obviously Manning and Montana. And we all know who's at the top. Tom Brady. So I think Patrick Mahomes right now is already one of the 5 greatest quarterbacks, or we could call it 6 greatest quarterbacks, but I would say 5. One of the 5 greatest quarterbacks to ever live. I think it is Brady, Manning, Montana, Elway, Mahomes. And then I can't really do the Johnny Unitas, Bart Starr stuff because I have no context for it. So that's where I land, bro.
Interesting. Look, I'm not going to give you too much pushback. The official top 10 list, and this is
There's
NFL. Remember the NFL released their top 100.
Yep.
So they have essentially 10 players at each position. They gave a top 10 quarterbacks. Not in order, but Brady, Montana, Johnny Unitas, Otto Graham, Sammy Baugh, Elway, Manning, Peyton Manning, Staubach, Favre, and Marino.
Yeah.
Now I'm
think
going
it
to
was
take.
Eli Manning, for the
I'm going to take. He's got 2 rings.
I know, but-
You like wins. He's got 2 of them.
Point.
All right, Unitas, Graham, Ball. I'm going to take them out. So that leaves 7 that I saw.
Yep.
He's definitely ahead of Rodgers,
Yep.
Favre.
Yep.
I put him ahead of Elway. And I get it that the number, Elway won 2 Super Bowls, went to 5.
Yep.
And I get that and here's where you'll get pushback. Like, I wouldn't put him ahead of, obviously, Brady or Montana at this point. If he doesn't win the Super Bowl, Manning is going to be ahead of him. Peyton Manning.
Sure.
Sorry about that. Wow.
Yeah,
But the reason, even though his numbers individually are so much better, the pushback you get, the numbers today are way better.
But
they don't
how-
hit the quarterback like they used to. They don't hit the receivers
So that
like they
that
used
I
to.
totally agree with. To me, the best way to equalize the number inflation is to look at it not in context of these guys' raw numbers versus those guys,
Against
but where
your
they
era.
ranked in the league.
Okay.
So like Montana was unbelievable, but he did not have the best numbers every year. You know what?
Right,
Because Dan
right,
Marino's right there. Elway rarely had the best numbers. So even if we can do it that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
where do
yeah,
you
yeah.
rank amongst your
Amongst your
contemporaries in passing
Because
yards and
even
touchdowns? on those
Brady
things?
in his 40s, his numbers are like
better than in his
they
20s.
used to be.
Sure,
right.
of
So
course.
you got to take that in consideration. But the bottom line is Staubach, I put him ahead of.
Yep.
Marino.
Yep.
So you got Montana, Brady, and Manning. So
So you've
look,
got him top 4 all
because
time already.
Here's the thing. Taking out the old guys.
Yeah.
Because Otto Graham, really, they were, Johnny Unitas. Earl Campbell had 4, maybe 5 great years. He's a top 10 running back of all time, according to the
Yes,
official
of course.
list. Gale Sayers only played 6 years. But he was so great in those years that he's a top 10
Jim
running back
Brown is
officially.
considered maybe the best player ever. He had 8.
Right.
Now that's
right.
more than Mahomes, but
right.
he had 8.
And they're
amazing.
running backs, 10, 12, usually max, something like that. And obviously in baseball, Sandy Koufax played 12 years, but had 6 phenomenal ones, won 3 Cy Young Awards in that last 6 years.
And in the official.
So my point is, even if your prime, let's say it's a short career, which Mahomes would have if he didn't play anymore, he's done so much, especially if he wins the Super Bowl.
And Wiles,
if he
the
wins the
official
Super Bowl,
NBA list,
it's an argument.
The official NBA list of the 50 best players the last 50 years had Luka in the top 20 after 5 seasons.
The official.
So 4 seasons, the official.
Was that official?
According
It was
to what's
official.
right.
Oh, I thought it was
official.
unauthorized.
No,
official.
I mean, it was official.
It's like the 31st top list. I'll give you that. It's in the top 35 of lists.
Or do you have any problem with it, Wiles?
No, here's the take. You know what? I was going through my old take file. I was trying to find a hot take for this segment. And I pulled one out, and it was too hot, and I didn't believe in it, but I want to believe in it
What
so
is it?
bad. I wanted to say if he had a losing record in the Super Bowl, it would affect his status, but I don't really believe it.
Of course
I think
not.
it's the opposite.
Manning's just 2-2.
That's the thing.
That's not
Manning's
losing,
2-2.
but-
Jim Kelly's 0-4. Everyone still says Jim Kelly's a great
He's
quarterback.
on my pyramid.
Elway's 2-3. Payne's 2-2. Kurt Warner was 1-2. So if he goes 1-2, I honestly don't think it hurts his resume.
Of course, because again, and people are able to understand this logic in every scenario except for when we talk about LeBron James.
Say it's true.
The problem with what if you had a losing record in the Super Bowl is it makes you married to this take. What if they lose in 10 days? What would have been better for Mahomes is if he had lost to the Bengals.
I know.
And in no scenario should your legacy be enhanced by losing a game rather than winning it. It makes no sense. It's never made sense. Now, if you want to say you only get 10% of the credit for making a Super Bowl as you do for winning it, fine. That's like an argument you can have about how big the jump should be by winning the game. But the idea that and that's why, and I didn't make that opening graphic, but I do think we should treat losses in the championship round as appearances because it is an accomplishment every round of the playoffs you advance, and you should never be dinged for playing great and getting your team, in the LeBron analogy, in 2018, what he did against the Celtics, 45 points, playing all 48 minutes to win a Game 7 on the road, and then it's like, you know what would have been better if he had 20 points, they lose, and then he doesn't lose another finals. It doesn't make sense.
But here's the quickly the difference between basketball and football. In basketball, that one guy makes such more. You could, as a quarterback, have a phenomenal game and lose the Super Bowl.
No doubt about it.
We saw Brady do it against Foles. So Yeah, I think that's the difference.
Okay. On the other side of the ball of the AFC Championship, Zach Taylor had nothing but good things to say about Joe Burrow. Take a listen.
There's a lot of conversation now about how much Joe Burrow is worth to the franchise. How would you quantify how much he's worth right now?
Yeah, fortunately, I don't have to put that on paper. In terms of what that is. That's just the business we're in right now. He's everything we want to be about. He is a hard worker. He cares about his teammates. He cares about where he's from, Ohio. This fan base, I think he represents us the right way. And so we take a lot of pride in having Joe Burrow as our quarterback.
Brew, do you expect Burrow to be back in the AFC Championship next year?
Well, look, like Joe Burrow, I care about where I'm from, Ohio. So I know who they nation is like. Brew, are you with us or not? Yes. Right? But I can't commit to saying Joe Burrow's definitely going to be in the AFC Championship game. I'm not ready to write off Josh Allen and the Bills. I'm not ready to write off Lamar Jackson and the Ravens if he goes back there. Tua in Miami, Nick, will be interesting, and I can't wait to see Kellen Moore with Justin Herbert with the Chargers. So, look, he's obviously a phenomenal player, but the greats, Nick, I guess other than Mahomes, they don't always get to the third round of the playoffs, even if they're great.
Especially back-to-back-to-back. So as far as making three